You are dreaming. Prove me wrong. That's the title of this video. And before we get into it, let's just relax in the garden here. So you get a little grounded and balanced. And then I can think better. You too. We all need to balance out. And then things are more clear how it works. So they call me Rodney Josephson. Okay. Dreaming the dream. The question is, what is the dream? Now, I did a video a few days ago. The same stick man, but with a full body in bed. In bed. So this is, the being is in bed. Okay. Now, I've done videos before related to this a long time ago, last year maybe. And so I'm just developing it a little bit more for clarity purposes. And so first, we have to start off here. The monad, that's the all and the nothing, the void. So between the void, we have so-called states. States of awareness, or being conscious of what we are doing. We're aware of what's going on. And this also represents like breathing, asleep, awake, that type of thing. And we go from one to the other in these so-called moments, or I don't know how to really explain it. It's like a movie clip, and there's always like a gap or a space between them. So all is one and one is all. Seek within, for the world is without. As above, so below. And that's what we're getting into here now. So you never leave bed. I'll explain that. It's like Buddha sitting there dreaming the dream of life, So when you're awake, you can daydream. You're sitting somewhere and you start daydreaming, but theoretically, you're so-called awake, or you think you are, And then someone disturbs you when you're daydreaming, and then you. And of course, when you sleep, you have dreams, or you may have a dream. So you've had those different transition points. Now the question is, can anyone prove which side they're on? I don't know. Someone please show me. Prove. What is the evidence? So that's why I say it's all just a dream. It depends on your perspective and your awareness of being conscious in any of these so-called awakened states of mind, in a dream state of mind. So consciously aware of this. When your imaginative state matches both. Now, what do I mean by that? So let's say look at the yin-yang here. That's balance, coherence. Both are generally the same. So now you can go from one side to the other, or not. So the center is the so-called balance, the void, or the all, or the nothing, however you'd like to think about it. And so when I'm in bed, and then I finally fall asleep, I then go somewhere else. And almost all the time I remember the dream. And so I will write it down the next day. And when I'm so-called awake and I have an interaction in the daytime, and it resonated in the sense that I remember something significant in that, I will write it down. Of course, to write down everything all day long is another story. You know, just normal things walking down the street, maybe something doesn't pop out. I mean, I don't write it down because it didn't register. And it's the same as a dream, so-called dream. You know, you're in bed, you fell asleep, and then you have a dream, and you're in the dream. Some things register well, and some things don't. And so-called, when I wake up the next day, I'm still in a dream state. And I will write down whatever time that is. I'll attempt to write down whatever was in that dream that was resonating with me. Now, it's not so prevalent of what the message is. Maybe it's a symbol or a number or some actions that went on in the dream. And so I'll write down as much as I can that will fulfill the dream, or so-called the message. And it will resonate when it resonates. And so I've done that hundreds of times. Which side of the coin are you on? So this is a coin. You have an edge and you have two sides of the coin. So which side of the coin are you on? Show me. I don't know. I would like someone to explain. So that being said, you are the coin and you're on both sides of the coin, if you want to look at it that way. Now, of course, we have a so-called physical body, but when we go into a dream state, whether that's we're awake or sleeping, many times we leave the body and go somewhere else. Yeah, because we're thinking about some other location or place or interaction, which is not in the place where we so-called are sleeping or dreaming, and we're somewhere else. So I think that means we have left the body. Though we are, so-called resonating in some kind of a sense of a body or energy as we are in those other states, frames of mind, or level of consciousness, or awareness of being in those states. And we experience what's around the state and in the state, because we feel or experience this. And you can see I have some squiggly lines that represents like the alpha or beta state. So the more relaxed you are, the more you can get out of the normal energies, or maybe you want to say chaos of the normal world, as they would say. And so the more relaxed we are, the more we can dream and see things more clearly. That's the idea. And so, when you finally go to sleep, and then you go into the other state, most likely you are very relaxed. So the issue is, what am I doing at any given moment of the day when I go into these dream states, or when I so-called leave this physical state and I go somewhere else? Sometimes, if there's a lot of disturbances, maybe you're listening to music, or you're watching a screen or something like that, and then you maybe kind of doze off. Well, that's influencing your so-called dream state. So the levels, maybe it's a very low frequency or high frequency, if you want to look at it that way. Is it a beta state? or alpha, or however you want to look at it. If there's external disturbances, meaning that I was watching some video or something caught my eye, so it maybe it had created a disturbance, and that will affect my condition. So I might breathe more, or feel a little tension or nervousness. And so when I go into that state, it may bring a different state or a different dream experience, which all is just a dream anyway, the way I see it. And so yeah, last night I had a dream. I fell asleep, and I'm in bed. Of course I'm in bed, like that. And I felt this energy around me, and I could see my body in the bed, and you know, I opened my eyes, but I remember I'm dreaming this, and I opened my eyes and I could feel like this pressure keeping me in the bed, and you know, it was a little tension, and I just said, you know, I remember my head coming up, and I'm coming out of it. I'm saying, like, you know, F you, or whatever, in a good way, meaning that my body is not me. And of course, I did leave it. So I left the physical, and then I came out of that. And so, I mean, you can experience all kinds of dreams, and it's just the message. It's not good or bad. The question is, do you understand what's going on so that you can interpret it and navigate that so-called dream or that state or sense of being at that time? And so again, notice you know, what you're doing before you know, doze off, as they would say, or what was going on around. If you notice something, or there's, you know, crap on the news, or maybe some noise outside, well, that will affect your state, obviously. So the more calm and peaceful and, you know, grounded with the plants or whatever, the better your experiences are, obviously. I think so. And so you'll see that, you know, both sides of the coin, you are resonating in your you know, coherence and balance on both sides, because you are the so-called coin or the body, but you transcend or go out of the body and enjoy whatever is on the so-called either side, both sides. And the more coherent you are, you'll start to see that both sides are beginning to resonate about the same. Not that anybody's trying to hold me down in bed here, you know, physically. No. Anyway, it's just the idea. There are messages and things like that when you are walking around, so-called when you're awake or when you're asleep. All kinds of messages, guys. And the all-seeing eye is your awareness and consciousness of the states that may take place or are taking place or have taken place. And so you just learn to navigate them and enjoy it. And obviously improve your inner resonance as you go along. So I think that's kind of clarifying this whiteboard drawing, the stickman drawing. Because we are eternal beings experiencing the different states physical states or mental states or all of the above, in which we remember that we're a member of the all and the nothing. And that is when you have so-called awakened, or you're conscious and aware of these conditions, and then you can navigate them better with the truth. You know. The truth always prevails. So I'm going to leave it at that. No need to extend this. You can find my videos and other things, or books and writings to find out more. But you got to seek within, because the world's without. You have to figure it out, brothers. I'm only showing you how I see it. But when you internally and inherently understand what I'm talking about inside you, then you have mastered your so-called reality. And so I'm going to leave it there. Thank you all for dropping in. This is Alive Dwelling in the Garden, Saigon. It's now. Ciao.